It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me to open this fantastic event. I'm excited because it's also the first time that I come to Latvia, the first time I come to Riga, and from what I've seen and this beautiful environment, I'm really excited to be part of this event and to have had the chance to come here. I hope you will enjoy my session as at least half as much as I enjoy the Riga to date, from the time I arrived yesterday to unfortunately leaving later today. But let me try and introduce myself. My name is Franck Leveque, as I was introduced earlier. I come from a company called Frost & Sullivan. We are a market intelligence and consultancy firm. We do a lot of work on megatrends. We started doing that actually before the crisis around 2007, 2008. We have a team of futurists that focus on not only the identification of megatrends, but what are the sub-trends? What are the implications of these megatrends to the industry? And working very closely with our clients to understand what it means to them. What are the opportunities associated to these megatrends? And that's very much what I'm going to do in the next 40 minutes or so, is introducing you to our work in megatrends, look at the sub-trends, look at the initial implication to various industries. It's what we call the macro to micro approach to megatrends, something that we've pioneered at Frost & Sullivan. But first, let's move fast forward to the year 2025. And these are some of the headlines that we could expect to see, or topics that we could expect to see in the newspapers in 2025. Robots that are entering our personal lives. It is starting at a very small level already. I had a chance a few years ago to have coffee, or to be served coffee by Asimo in Japan. It is an humbling experience, in fact, something that I will remember for the rest of my life. But this is not common practice today. It will be. Sensory devices guiding our everyday life. Big data entering the zettabyte era. 3D printing being replaced by 4D printing. The US signing an agreement with high-speed rail between LA and Mexico. Or low-cost holidays in space. These are some of the topics that we could have, and we believe some of them will be reality in 2025. Important to think about what it could be. But what is a megatrend? I want everybody to understand. A megatrend at Frost & Sullivan is transformative, it's global, and its impact is tremendous on business, societies, economies, cultures, and our personal lives. When we started the work in 2007 to identify megatrends, and we work across 12 industries at Frost & Sullivan, we did a bottom-up approach to these trends, look at all the trends that are associated to each of the industries that we cover. And we initially identified about 150 trends. We did a lot of work, spent a lot of time to try and rationalize that, and we came to 40. From these 40, we have actually clubbed them into 12. 12 that we analyze, track year in and year out, analyze the implication to industries, analyze the implications to geographies. The implications is what's important. It's not so much the trends in themselves. And I'm just going to start with a small video to express the 12 trends that we are tracking.
In an increasingly asymmetrical world, what are the key megatrends that will drive the future to 2020?
Imagine a life wherein you have 80 billion connected devices, where you have personal robots doing your chores at home, where your connected space within the home, at work, within the car is completely seamless, wherein your shopping and digital experiences would be integrated. Imagine that in the future, wherein not only your home is connected, but your car and your office and your city.
Kivicon was a solution launched last year by Deutsche Telekom. It's very progressive in terms of a connected living solution. In the home environment, it seeks to connect all devices. So not only we're seeing things like smart TVs and smart thermostats, as we call them single-purpose solutions. Kivicon is a black box that connects all appliances.
This completely digital and integrated experience of the future would also affect the retail industry. This leads to what we call the bricks and the click strategy. Digital experiences would not only be integrated into the brick and mortar showrooms, but also beyond the pure online marketing channels that we see, right from pre-purchase, during purchase, and even after sale of the product or the service.
The key megatrends over the last couple of years have included very exciting analyses of new business models. Business models that can disrupt, even collapse, but also transform companies and industries.
One of the key megatrends of the future is what we call value for many. Not value for money, but value for many. What it does is allows you to sell the product from day one to the 5 billion people on this planet who are connected on the internet, or to the 4 billion people who fall under the middle class.
Every part of how people move around generates data. And when you can put all that data together, that's when you get new solutions that can make cities that are now more congested, perhaps a little bit less so in the future, and help people move around more efficiently.
The elimination of the need to be physically there, the ability to actually electrify or app-wise deliver the car into the person, the ability to eliminate the need for molecules in order to go from one place to another, simply going on electrons, and the ability to extract the driver out of the equation and deliver an autonomous car actually changes the economics of delivering mobility from point A to point B. And the disruptive power of that is significant. It changes both the issues of car ownership, but also the issues around energy, fossil fuel, even public transport and the planning for cities.
So a smart city in the future is that city that has 5 of the 8 parameters. These 8 parameters are smart energy, smart healthcare, smart mobility, smart technology, smart buildings, smart infrastructure, smart governance, and also smart citizens.
The mega trend of them all is health, wellness, and well-being. Many people who analyze Convergence cycles are saying this is the next greatest trend, and it is the greatest challenge facing humanity.
Innovating to zero is not so much a mega trend, but what we call a mega vision. It means we strive ourselves to achieve Vision Zero strategy. For example, Nissan is developing zero emission cars, or Copenhagen wants to be the first carbon neutral capital of the world. Now we are setting ambitions as corporates and as governments. We might not achieve that goal in our lifetime, but the fact that we even get to 50% of it means we made a huge impact to our society.
Are you ready for this future?
So, this is a snapshot of what I'm going to go through, basically. And the first mega trend that I want to talk about is connectivity and convergence. Connectivity and convergence is probably one of the biggest one in its capacity to bring things together. What does it mean? It means 80 billion connected devices by 2020. 80 billion. This is the kind of numbers that we are talking about. And when we presented that to the CTO of Samsung a couple of, about 18 months ago, he said, well, I believe that your figures are a little bit conservative. But he will say that. We will have 5 connected devices for every user by 2020. We'll have 5 billion internet users by 2020. This is what we need to think about. How do we reach all these people? What value do we bring? What are the services? We've gone from an era of communication with 1G, 2G, 3Gs. We are implementing and rolling out 4G today. But by 2020, we're going to talk about 5G. It is going to bring tremendous opportunities in terms of bandwidth, in terms of speed, to open up opportunities in business models around logistics, around ultra-reliable and secure communication for banking, but also for healthcare, allowing remote surgery. Machine-to-machine communication is going to be totally unlocked through the deployment of 5G. Connected home, connected work, high-speed train systems. This is the kind of solutions that will come as ubiquitous to us all. But we keep talking about terrestrial communication. One of the things that we are seeing is a sub-trend called space jam. Space jam because in the next 10 years we're going to send into space more satellites than in the past 30. The big difference is that most of these satellites will be for commercial use as opposed to defense. And the second biggest difference is most of them will be for communication purpose. We're going to increase the bandwidth of satellite communication to a level that price is going to come down tremendously. What is the impact to all other communication solutions that we use? Well, it is going to create, again, great opportunities and challenges to the current players, but also unable to fulfill some of the challenges that we have with terrestrial communication today. And some have understood that. Elon Musk with SpaceX is certainly at the forefront of that, having understood that there will be so many satellites being launched into space that it requires a different solution, a solution that comes at a lower cost. But Facebook or Google are investing heavily into this space as well. When we talk about communication, we talk about the future of connected living, Internet of Things in many ways. This is what is being flagged as. But it comes into, in our view, three hubs. You have a connected home hub, you have a connected work hub, and you have a connected city, within which you have key areas of development, key areas of connectivity, home automation, home energy, home health, home entertainment, each of which is being connected. At the moment, individually. But as we've seen earlier in the video, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit as well, there's platforms that are being developed that bring things together across sources of solutions that do not necessarily use the same operating systems, that do not necessarily use the same brands of products. Connected work and connected city, all will come under one mega platform of connectivity that you'll be able to operate, manage, maintain, connect, control, wherever you are. We talked about, I was quite excited about this solution called KiwiCon, developed by Deutsche Telekom, because what it does is it really overcome a challenge that we have at home with all these connected solutions that do not speak to each other, that you cannot control under one system. And that's what it comes. It actually gives that control to the user, and that control over the smartphone, ability to start your heating system at a distance, ability to make sure that you didn't you leave your lights on when you go on holiday, or actually, start the light in the morning so it imitates the fact that you are at home. And it actually brings together automation, security, health, multimedia, appliance, as well as even the integration with electric cars to use and charge the battery of the car at off-peak electricity. This is smart management of the home environment. That's what it brings. And this is the start only of these kind of solutions. Connectivity is driving data. If you look at sensors and connectivity is basically driving the growth of data. I'm being told that between the beginning of time and 2003, there's been something like 5 exabytes of data that were created. Between 2003 and 2013, we created about 5 exabytes of data. Between 2013 and 2014, we created 5 exabytes of data. In 2015, it is likely to take about a day to create 5 exabytes of data. Shall I go on? Data is becoming a commodity. It's not the value of the data, and 80% of it is unstructured. Most of it is unused or unreachable yet. That's where the potential is. But the potential is in the analytics, in what we create out of it. It is going to revolutionize pricing through the transparency that it creates. Sort of worries me as a research company. Sometimes we do a lot of work around pricing benchmark and mystery shopping for pricing. Well, this is going to become totally redundant. Unbundling of activities. It's going to revolutionize maintenance or warranty management. It's going to revolutionize the capacity of personalizing or customizing products. Revolutionize and bring new products into the market that are based on data, that are going to sustain existing business models because and thanks to data analytics. Loyalty, dynamic pricing. This is fantastic. The ability of a Uber to align demand and supply, and as soon as you have too much demand, raise the price when the supply is not able to support. That's what they do. They do it real time. Fantastic. We were not able to do that, any half of that before. In connectivity, this is a technology that I find super exciting, is augmented reality. The ability to overlay information. And I find it exciting, not because I'm an IT person, because I'm not. But for the potential, the business potential it brings. The potential in terms of education, the potential in terms of training, the potential in the ability to bring the right information at the right time, in the right environment, and improve efficiency, because that's what it can bring. It's not just for tourists that are coming to Riga and have the ability to have all the information at the right time. No, it has real business potential. And this is what's exciting to me. And connectivity is pushing convergence. Convergence of industries, convergence of products, convergence of technologies. And this convergence across technology, across products, across industries is where we create the most exciting innovation. Innovation of mobile health, autonomous cars, smart home hubs. This is really the consequence of this convergence between industries. That was the first one. The second one is smart is a new green, as a second mega trend. Green was the trend, the mega trend of the past decade. But the problem with green is it did not always have a return on investment. It did not always have a business case. It was good for image, for governments or for companies to position themselves. Smart is bringing the business case behind that. And smart is the intelligence in applied to the technology, to the infrastructure, applied to energy, applied to the grid, the energy grid, the electric grid, applied to bandage, applied to material, applied to mobility. Smart is coming into everything, the ability to sense the environment and react automatically, or make it react. A big part of that is smart city. Smart city, as was introduced, is defined as covering 8 critical parameters: smart governance, smart citizens, smart healthcare, smart technology, smart infrastructure, smart mobility, smart building, and smart energy. We've done a lot of tracking of cities that are positioning themselves on a global basis as smart cities. Most of them, in our views, are not and will not be, because we define smart cities as cities that are covering 5 out of the 8 parameters. Some of them will be fantastic as smart mobility, but they will not cover the other elements. And that's why we don't necessarily put them in that list. In that list, we have 26 cities by 2025 that will make it to the smart city definition of Frost & Sullivan. These cities that will bring 5 out of the 8 parameters of the smart diamond, as we call it. And as we are analysts at heart, we try to size the opportunity, because what's behind, what's in it for us. And we've estimated that smart city is going to create a business opportunity and a market value of $1.5 trillion by 2020, with smart governance and smart education being at the forefront, taking the biggest chunk of that market, as the ability to digitize a lot of the work that is being done by governments today. Yeah? Smart energy being the second one. Great opportunities for integrators, for companies that have the capacity to bring intelligent products that are integrating, that have the integration capacity in their environment into open platforms. These are tremendous opportunities for the IT and for the communication industry. We talk a lot about urbanization. Most of you will have read about urbanization. 70% of the population by 2050 living in urban areas, as per the UN. We believe at Frost & Sullivan that it's actually going to go faster than that. But what are the sub-trends to that? Because the sub-trend has the development of megacities. Megacities being those cities with 8 million inhabitants and 250 billion GDP. Development of mega regions, when those mega cities are sprawling so much, they actually come together. The development of mega corridors to enable the freight and the movements of goods and people between 2 key mega cities. The development of smart and sustainable cities. I spoke about smart cities. Sustainable cities, we've identified about 150, 180 of them globally. But moreover, the development of what we call city as a customer. The city is becoming a customer in its own right. In fact, as the cities are growing, they're growing in power, they're growing in political power, they're growing in economic power, and they are setting the rules. In the automotive industry where I come from, the vehicle manufacturers are trying to harmonize emission regulation on a global basis to make their life easier. But at the same time, you have Boris Johnson in London saying, well, in 2020, I don't want to see any cars that are having emissions into the city center. So he's actually redefining the rules. He's redefining the fact that in the city center, we're only going to have electric or fuel cells vehicles. That's what he's saying. It's changing the dynamics for the vehicle manufacturers, going against it, in fact. It's not bad, it's just changing the rule. And he's got the power to do it. The next one is brick and click. It's one that basically when we started in 2007, 2008, we didn't have this one as a mega trend, in fact. But we decided to put it because in 2007, 2008, e-retail was accounting to less than 1% of the retail industry on a global basis. In 2011, it's already accounted for 5%, and we believe that by 2025, it will account close to 20% of all retail's activity. Some companies have missed that point. There's a company called Best Buy, you may know it, it's a big electronics store in the US. They came to the UK and they opened something like 12 or 15 stores. In 18 months, they closed all of them. Why? Because they actually missed that in the UK already, 50% of all consumer electronics is sold online, not at the store. And they didn't have the right strategy for that. Pre-2000, we had the area of development of the bigger, the better. From department store, supermarket, hypermarket, they're all going to the sort of surrounding of the cities. In post-2000, all the companies developed their online strategy, but as a separate strategy to what I call the brick-and-mortar strategy. Today, the key is the integration between the two. The integration between brick and click. The integration that you can jump from the customer journey that you have on the brick to the customer journey that you have on the click seamlessly. Actually, you have the same experience in the brick as it has been created in the click. Not the other way around anymore. And the online strategy or the digital strategy, I'm not saying the online strategy, but the digital strategy is not just for low-cost low-cost product companies. Quite the opposite. And Audi is actually demonstrating that it can be used to enhance this luxury perspective of a brand. I don't know if you've ever been to London Audi City. They've developed a store at the same place as where they used to have a dealership. So same size, it's a very small size. It's next to the Ritz, close to to Green Park, Piccadilly Circus. And basically, when you come in, you don't have 15 cars anymore. You have 2, very aspirational. You come in, you don't see a salesperson. They don't have salesperson. They have customer relationship managers. When you go in, you start designing your own car. They help you through that process. Once you've developed it, they beam it on a big power wall in a one-to-one. You start the car. It has the same sound as the car you would have bought. What's really exciting is the technology behind it is actually tremendous, really fantastic. But what's even more exciting is that 70% of people who are going in that store actually will recommend a friend and family to go and visit it. I don't know if you've bought a car, if you've been to a dealership recently, but I find going to a dealership probably as exciting as going to the dentist. Yeah? But they made it exciting. They made it to the fact that 70% of all car purchases in that store are with new customers to the brand. How powerful is that in a market that is totally mature? This is exciting. We can create excitement through digital technology. And that is changing. Online retail is changing the downstream. Well, as soon as you buy online, you still need to get it delivered somehow. In fact, for every purchase online, it said that it's adding 1 kilometer of delivery logistics. And it's changing the type of vehicle that we are going to have in the city centers, electric vehicles, gas-powered vehicles. It's changing the logistics concept, so what we call urban spokes, where you have mega trucks coming to the outskirts of the cities and these smaller trucks delivering in the city centers. You have new business models like you see coming up, locker box, click and collect, mobile collections that are coming up to actually fulfill the need of seamless delivery to the consumers, because that's what we want. Next one is social trends. We track social trends across various parameters, from aging population, middle bulge, which is basically the middle class, women empowerment, Gen Y, are some of the most critical groups that you need to tackle in a very different manner. We even looked at the halal economy. Again, it's very interesting in the automotive industry. You need to actually tackle them different because you can't sell leasing to Islamic people. So you need to have these different approaches. Gen Y, that group of people that are less loyal to brands, that's tough to say. That do not want to own anything. In the car industry, this is quite scary. They don't want to own cars, they just want to use them. They want to use them, but they just don't want to own them. So it's changing the business model of the car companies. Yeah? These are representing 2.5 billion people, with half of them being in Asia. How do we tackle this group of people? In the automotive industry, we also looked at the women empowerment specifically. And what we found in a very interesting insight is that in the US, there's more people, more women with driver license than men. In the UK, women are clocking more trips than men. Still, it is a man's industry, developing vehicles for men. And that is changing. Some executives, Carlos Ghosn, to name a few, are actually identifying this trend and are changing the approach. It's not that we are going, let's not go into stereotypes and developing a vehicle for women. That's not what I'm saying. Because that has been tried and doesn't work. Yeah? But there are specific features that are more attractive. There's a way in retailing that can be more applied. And that's where the industry is going. And we will see robots, as I mentioned earlier, robots that are coming up between $1.5 and $5K in our personal life by 2020. Robots that will be our home companions, that will take care of the elderly, that will be teaching assistants. We will see them everywhere. And we are still really close from it. I want to talk about economic trends. Just one slide here. It's beyond BRIC. Everybody talks about BRIC. Everybody's been talking about BRIC. Brazil, Russia, India, China. But what's beyond that? Because as soon as these countries or these economies are starting to slow down, everybody's, what do we do? Well, a lot of the work that we do at Frost & Sullivan is also to actually help our clients to find what we call growth relays. Growth relays are going to come from ASEAN countries. Very strong, very interesting markets there. They're going to come from the Central European. They're going to come from Turkey. They're going to come from Africa. We actually get a lot of interest in Africa today. Africa, by 2020, is going to account for 1.2 billion people. It is an entire continent that has been left out in itself, but is actually developing very fast and leaping stages of development. They basically, they're embracing mobile payment, for example, faster than any others, almost jumping over the credit card era. New business model. We talked about value for many, that capacity of going after this 5 billion people that have access to the internet in 2020. What value do we bring? What is a business model that we develop that we can tackle all of them? But what's really interesting in the research that we've done is that a lot of the focus in our industries, across industries in fact, is to develop products. The effort is towards products, but the return, the value creation, is actually rather low if you compare this to business model. very little effort is being put into business model creation, but the cumulative value is tremendous. So I want you to think outside the box. Don't always think about technology. Technology is important, obviously, but think about how you can revolutionize an industry in the way that you actually position that technology in the market. Because through a business model, we can disrupt, we can collapse, we can transform industries. Let me take you through some examples. Uber, I mentioned, Halo is the same in the UK. And basically, what it has done is it has totally disrupted one of the oldest industries that there is. Nothing has changed in the taxi industries since it exists. But what they've done through basically the smartphone is aligning the driver to the customer. Getting money out of the equation, the risk associated to collection of cash, away from the equation because you pay Uber directly. And Uber is taking a cut, 20% from that. Not bad. Not bad. And at a price that is defying all competition. If you don't, this is the kind of companies you can be. You know, the Kodak moment. You know, this is what we talk about. But Blockbuster, you know, when I was a student, this is all I was living by. Blockbuster, I was there 3 or 4 times a week. Doesn't exist anymore. It's gone out. Totally wiped out. Wiped out by companies like Netflix. You know, they challenged them first with their mail order strategy, and then they embraced the on-demand video streaming. They embraced the digital era. And that's not finished, because they are realizing that they know the customers better than the big corporates, the big Warner Bros. And so on. And they are investing in the production today to develop one of the biggest soap of all time, the most successful one, House of Cards. Backward integration. This is how powerful it is. Megatrends of health, wellness, and well-being. We mentioned health, wellness, and well-being is the 3 cornerstone: mind, body, and soul. And it has tremendous implication, and we have the technology today, we're starting to have it, and just going to focus on one, which is moving beyond the wrist. We're talking a lot, there's a lot of being said about Google Watch, about Apple Watch, about many different things that are coming into our wrist. At the moment, it's only giving information. It is, however, going to be the base for fantastic analytics that can preempt, or that can actually identify potential health issues before they happen. This is where we're going. This is why it's so exciting. It's not just to tell you that you've slept a little bit too little last night. That's nice. It's just a nice gadget to sell. But the potential is tremendous tomorrow. Innovating to zero. More of a mega vision, as we heard earlier. What is your zero vision? The one I really love amongst all of them here, and I'm sure many of you will agree. What about a zero email? I love the idea. This is actually something that a company like Atos is working on. They've developed a set of solutions that enable to work without emails. Fantastic. I receive 250 a day, and it's awful. I just can't wait for a situation where I have a few less emails a day. The future of energy. The future of energy is thinking about the sources, optimizing the sources, optimizing the generation, optimizing the distribution, optimizing the use of energy. And some of the key technologies we see here, from energy efficiency, LED light, distributed generation, smart grid, smart energy, battery and storage technology, solar, energy harvesting or energy recovery are some of the key technologies that are going to be implemented by and through the energy industry. The future of mobility, and I've got a small video here.
Door approach to viewing transportation, using both new mobility business models alongside more connected infrastructure that really change the landscape for the way people view transportation in urban areas.
We already have a lot in our toolbox to work with, and if only we could raise awareness and understanding more of what we already have, then in fact there's a huge impact that we can have on cities right now through using the existing car sharing models that we have available to us.
Alpha City is a new form of corporate car sharing that allows keyless access and operations to what may have formerly been company pool cars, and really starts to change the landscape for underutilised vehicles by giving employees a new product, a new service that in many ways is more of a perk to the vehicles they already have access to as part of a corporate service.
Today everybody is talking about corporate car sharing, e-mobility, but also about flexible mobility products. And for all of these, Alphabet is offering definitely the right products for the right customer groups at the right time.
So this can be new vehicles such as the new i3, for example, which has been enabled with the car sharing technology. It's very convenient, and you can see on the screen exactly what time and what price the vehicle will cost you. And you can also start to link this up with what your employees from other offices are doing as well.
Transport is the lifeblood of the city. If people cannot get around, if goods and services cannot be delivered, the city ceases to function. So if we're going to have urban centres that are attractive places to live, where people can come and do business, then solving the transport problems is absolutely critical for how human beings live and work.
Urban mobility, it's not about the means of transportation but it's more about the service that you offer. It's how do I get from A to B, and it's not this one single mode of transportation but a mix of it. Car2Go is a free-floating car sharing scheme, and it's always located in a business area, and you can walk up to a smart car. You have a membership card that you hold to the windshield and the car opens up, and then you can just drive off. You pay by the minute, no other fee, so it's really flexible, easy and convenient.
We believe that these new mobility business models are a big opportunity for automotive manufacturers in particular. And it's not just about the premium manufacturers. We've seen a lot from BMW, Daimler, that's what they're doing already. But in the future, we believe that this is much more of a mass market opportunity as well. And we've already seen how new venture capital or venture arms of the likes of General Motors and Ford have been set up to start to invest in some of these new companies. We've seen the partnerships with GM and Relay Rides, for example, and we know that there's a lot of interest in car sharing, taxi applications and ride sharing in particular, to start to look at the way that they engage with their customers in the future.
Mobility services are at the moment in everybody's mouth, so everybody's talking about this, and this is certainly something that will grow. The only question probably arises for a large OEM like ourselves is to what extent will we have to offer the services, or do we stick to our conventional role to produce the hardware, the products that enable the services?
Within the automotive sector, there's a rapid evolution of technologies that are appearing on vehicles, from advisory systems right the way through to full authority systems, including technologies such as automated emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and these will gradually evolve to become much more authoritative in the vehicle.
This is an exciting time to be involved in new mobility business models. We believe the future of urban mobility is set to become far more connected, far more integrated and far more door-to-door in terms of the transportation services that we are offered. We believe this is much more about consumer and business corporate provision of mobility, and in the future we will see much more of a world where we understand exactly how to get from A to B as soon as we leave our house.
So in I wanted to go straight to the conclusion, but you know, mobility, the future of mobility is going to be integrated. It's going to be connected car. It's going to be sharing economy. It's going to bring new business models that are going to get the customer closer to the supplier, as we've seen with Uber. It's going to bring autonomous vehicles. It's going to integrate micromobility for the last mile connectivity. It is going to come into a completely integrated solution, a door-to-door, seamless solution of mobility that integrates car rental, public transport, bike sharing, your own vehicle, depending on the situation, depending on the time, depending on the weather, depending whether there's an accident on where you want to go, leveraging big data to actually identify that at a specific time you're likely to have to leave 5 or 10 minutes earlier in order to be on time at your meeting, and do that proactively as opposed to reactively as it is today. And you have companies like Daimler that have already understood that. They've understood that in their market, in the mature market of Western Europe or even North America, they have two choices. They are either try to take market shares away from their competitors because we are in a mature market, or you look at diversification. And they want to be the biggest and the most important mobility company that there is. And they've invested already around all the different areas of mobility. They've invested in parking. They've invested in ride sharing. They've invested in taxi sharing, in car sharing with Car2Go, and in the ability to bring it together through that IT platform called Movell. And as a conclusion, I want to bring a slightly different perspective. Is in the 18th century we discovered molecule and we instigated the Industrial Revolution. In the 19th century we discovered the electron and we created new utility, electricity. In the 20th century we discovered waves and communication industry was born and became a new utility. The internet is a new utility, is a utility already. So what is the next utility of the future? Is the next utility going to be mobility? Is it going to be healthcare? Is it going to be media? Is it going to be data? What is the next big opportunity? What is the utility of the 21st century? Or is it a mix of them? I want to leave this question with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Franck, very much. We've got a couple of minutes for questions. Have you been getting new business ideas as well? Well, I did at least. Not sure they're going to be successful at any time, but in any case, yes, a question. Could we have the microphone here, please? Yes. We could gather a couple of questions and then address all of them. So if you have anything to ask, yeah, please.
Hello.
And you can ask in Latvian as well as in English.
That's not a problem. Kaspars Liberts, yeah, apply. At the beginning of your presentation, you spoke on all the smart things, smart data, smart stuff. The question is, can you give briefly your thoughts on security issues and security challenges that will come along with all those new great things? Thank you.
All right. Do we see any other hand? I think we'll gather the questions. Okay. I've got some as well. Anyone else? Anyone wants to chip in? I have a question about the smart cities. This is your first time in Riga. Does this look like going towards a smart city at all, or? I mean, but this is a serious question. We saw in your presentation the megacities, the metropolises, right? Where in this future scheme of things lie the small states with their average-sized cities? What are the political implications? So, oh yes, another question, please. Yes.
Yeah. Security is one issue. The last slides about the history bring me to the question about war or to big catastrophe, because we see Rome and then there comes war, then we see like Columbus, and then comes war, then we see 19th century, and then comes war. We are probably somewhere near war again. Do you factor that in your future projections, yes, perspectives? Because sometimes war gives, good things to industry, because, the development, of industry comes a lot out of war and, military stuff.
Okay.
What's in the future? What will be there?
Well, thank you very much. I think 3 questions will be enough because we just have a couple of minutes. So, your choice: security, cities, and security in more broader sense, political implications.
I actually think that the first and the last one are quite related, so I will take them together. In fact, historically, war was fought on air, water, and land. These are the 3 angles to fight war. There's a new angle that is being created, and that's cyber. Cyber war is what is the new investment. If you look at the investment in the defense industry of most superpowers around the world, this is where the investment is going today. So, is cyber security an issue? Definitely. Is it an issue just for defense? Not. As I said, I'm from the automotive industry. The automotive industry, some of you, coming from the IT world will say, is such a laggard when it comes to connectivity. Why are the cars not connected? Why are the cars not connected, and why are we not able to actually make changes to the vehicle on, over the air? Well, the first one to do that is actually Tesla. Elon Musk is driving that activity and is coming from a different perspective. And you may recall that in about 18 months ago, they had 2 fires or 3 fires. And any other vehicle manufacturers would have had to do a recall. They didn't do a recall because they were able to send information or software update to the vehicle and lift the vehicle by about 3 millimeters that proved that they will not have this problem again. And the jurisdiction in the US approved that. So, on the other hand, they've also invested in one of the most well-known cybersecurity sort of individual coming from Microsoft to help them secure that business. Because they know that if somebody comes and tries to bring the business down, this is an area that they can do a lot of damages. You have basically, imagine a situation whereby you send a malware to the vehicle that when it reaches a certain speed, 120 kilometers per hour, the front brake sort of hardens to the extreme. You have an accident straight away. You could do that. You can do that. It's possible if it's linked and if it's integrated internally. So yes, cybersecurity is a critical issue, and this is one of the reasons why vehicle manufacturers or traditional vehicle manufacturers are wary. But we are never going to have a situation where risk does not exist. Is risk of this situation a sufficient reason for not moving forward? I don't think so, because others will bring it forward, and we see that. That's my answer to this. And we need to find solutions to actually limit the risk, to mitigate the risks associated to cybersecurity.
What about Riga?
Sorry? Well, I'll have to take the opportunity to maybe stay a bit longer to be able to analyze Riga a bit more. I don't think that my stroll last night was sufficient to get a good grasp of Riga. What I say is, in the hotel that I'm staying, it's a beautiful hotel, beautiful old hotel, but in terms of building technologies, it's certainly not efficient. window technology are probably not the most energy efficient that they are out there to reach that state of smart building.
All right. That was an evasive answer, but I'll take that. Okay. Well, Franck, thank you very much for the megatrends. We let you go now with a round of applause, I suppose. Thank you very much.